Hi everyone, Dean here, and pleasure to be with you. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Got a good video, so stay tuned. And I would like to talk about one internet trolls. It's a phenomenon that affects each and every one of us, and just trolls in general. And trolls in general among people just I would say vampires. That there's some people that are just energy vampires. And they want to see you suffer, and they want to put you down when you're on the ground because it gives them pleasure, because it makes them feel better than the other person. It inflates their self-esteem because their self-esteem is so low that people that enter forums and they just troll, try to ruin the status. Let's say you post a status about memorializing the Nashville shooting. Right now, this is a very serious subject, and it just happened recently, so it's a very delicate subject, right? So, I recently had someone crash my status about the Nashville shooting. It's called a soapbox. A soapbox. Now, think how disrespectful that is. 9-year-olds died. Three teachers died. At least seven people died, according to the latest statistics. And for someone to post a memorial status to honor the victims and to wish love and peace and unity, to crash that status and call it a soapbox, what does that person really have to offer to the conversation? What does that person really have to offer to the community of people conversating and people communicating, right? So there will always be those people that will just push you down, and you know why? Because they're jealous and they want to push you down because it makes them feel better about themselves. They hate themselves. This guy, I'm only going to call him AJ because I'm not going to say his last name because I don't want to dox anyone. I'm not like that. You could be as mean as you can to me. I don't care, but I'm not going to use your full name and to disclose it in, a highly visible forum where I have 12,000 likes or close to it. So I'm not going to just reveal someone's identity. That's just not me. It's not cool. But I'll just say his first name is AJ, and so you can't really identify who he is, right? But his name was AJ, and he comes in and says it's a soapbox that me offering, and there's nothing political about what I said. I didn't mention gun control or anything else of these sorts, anything like that. I was just offering my sincere condolences and message of peace, love, and unity to a tragic, a national tragedy, a tragic event, right? So to come in there and say, "Oh, this is a soapbox, really?" When I think of soapbox, having offering your love to a national tragedy is not what I think of. So obviously, this person knew personally, they knew it was not a soapbox. They could recognize for what it is, but they impute this hateful message because they want to bring you down. They want to bring you down. They see you standing up and shining. They want to bring you down. And this is not limited to online. There's internet trolls, but also, like I said, they call them vampires in real life. And they are. They're energy vampires that I've noticed that in online comments, if someone says something questionable, and then people just pile on them, pile on them, pile on them. And we're all allowed to have our own opinions, but I mean what's not cool is to offer an opinion that's not hateful, that's not divisive, just your own opinion that's based on reason and rationale, and for people to lambast you and to attack you and to lampoon your character for your own opinion, which we're all entitled to. So I think that there's this phenomenon where we don't let other people have an opinion, that we don't see both sides because we're so transfixed on our side of the argument that we can't bring ourselves to even see the other side of the argument and just to put yourself in the shoes of the other perspective and see maybe when we're debating, it could be something like, I see where you're coming from. I understand the sentiment. I understand your intentions are good. However, I disagree with you. And instead of just discrediting everything someone says, because then you're discrediting the person. People have their own personal opinions. And I mean, obviously, there's some opinions that are just absurd, right? Like, that are enlaced with hate or enlaced with divisiveness. And, but at the same time, people are allowed to have those opinions, So we live in a free society where we can voice our opinions, as long as it's not hateful or incites violence of this sort, right? So, to just completely pile on someone and to crash a status or crash one of your messages and say all these hateful things. These people are hateful towards themselves. So to pray for them, to not let them get on your nerves, because I'll admit this guy kind of for a minute, for a moment, right? Like he kind of got on my nerves. Like, are you joking? So he kind of struck the nerve, right? Like the troll accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. He triggered me, right? So I had non-hateful, just matter of the fact comments, and I ended up just hiding the comment because it's not worth having this comment up there and just it just makes everyone look bad. So, but there's people like this in real life that there's sometimes it's a form of passive aggressiveness where someone will say something or ignore you or purposely not say anything back to try to get in your head. Sometimes partners they'll say I love you and they'll purposely not say I love you too to mess with their head. There's all sorts of forms of manipulation and vampire energy that you're sucking the energy from the person and you're draining their energy. And I think so many people go by and they attack others. They're always in criticism mode. They criticize, 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 and well, guess what? Just like anyone else's opinion, no one's right and all the time. So we're bound to have one opinion that's just incorrect. No one's opinion is correct all the time. No one, except maybe the divine, right? So to to be hateful towards someone just because they believe something different is the ultimate form of just disrespect for freedom. Disrespect for the freedom to choose our opinions and to choose our beliefs that we're all ingrained in our environment of and things we learn throughout our lives, our life experiences to base these opinions off, but someone else may not share those life experiences. So it's like you're arguing apples and oranges because you don't really see the other person's point of view. But now there's people in real life that will just stomp you down. They'll make you feel. I mean, have you ever hang out with someone? You ask yourself, do I feel better or worse after hanging out with them? If the answer is worse, they're probably not a real friend. They're probably not. Unless they're just having a bad day. But if it's like consistently, like or maybe they're in need, and maybe it's a mental health crisis, something along those sorts. I mean, that's different. But if it's just their everyday mental state, and they're not, they're stable. They're just how they act, and they make you feel worse, then you probably should at least take a break from that person. If not, indefinitely stop talking to them. Because, I mean, no one wants to just completely, fall out of off the map of someone's life and like just never talk to them again. I mean, unless some heinous or some, hateful or something along those lines to happen between the relationship. Maybe that'd be different. But if it's just a normal relationship, no one wants to just indefinitely leave a relationship. But sometimes I think it's important to take breaks where you still acknowledge that once a friend, always a friend, but we have to take breaks from until you figure your stuff out. Right now, you're toxic. And so some people can be toxic. So when you have a toxic person in your life, it's not about I'll never talk to you again. Just take a break. Like, look, I can't keep seeing you if you're making me feel like this. I don't know how else to say it, but I just gotta take a break from you. I gotta relax. I gotta take care of my own things. I think these are the things you need to work on that affects me, and I need to take a break from you. And I think that's healthy. I think many times this can actually work out. That strategy can actually work out that way. So, going back to just hate and trolls, there's trolls in real life. There's those people that you'll be waiting in line and someone says a nasty comment behind the line to you. There's someone will just walk up to you and say and criticize your shoes, like, "Oh, great shoes." Like someone just you see this all the time. And what I'm saying is that in relationships, sometimes this becomes more encoded. This becomes more passive. This becomes more cryptic. It becomes more form of ephemeral. That it's ephemeral. It's just this short-lived act of degradation where you feel or it may not be explicitly based on the words you're saying that you're saying these nasty things, but so if you know someone well enough, you know how to implicitly imply things that you're triggering them. And so there's trolls everywhere. And I would call them trolls in real life. I call them vampires, energy vampires, where there's some people that just suck your energy and you don't want to be around those people. And in my case, on an internet forum, I post something sincere, and then this AJ fella, comes on, and saying how it's a soapbox, so there's just no room in life for that. There's no room for that hate. That hate. I mean, here I am posting a message of peace and unity and love for a national tragedy. A national tragedy where people died. He has the audacity to come in my Facebook, crash my stats, and say it's a soapbox. And you know what? There was even one person that liked one of his comments. So that's what I mean. When someone puts you down, they like to pile on you. They like to pile on you because they think it's cool. They think it's cool. They want to jump on the train. And it's so important that when people are getting beat down, we don't jump on the train or beat them down. We see their perspective, be like, well, you know what? I think maybe there's some validity to what they're saying. Maybe you shouldn't jump on them. Maybe you shouldn't jump on them so soon. Maybe you should see from their point of view. And you don't know other people's point of view. You don't. You can pretend you do all you want, but you'll never know where someone's coming from if you disagree until you step into their shoes and you see their perspective, you see the reason why they believe these things. And if you ever ask the question why, like why? why do you believe in these things? You know, why do you think this is a soapbox? In that case, it wouldn't work because what he's saying is irrational to begin with. So using something rational and reason with something that's irrational will never work out. You can't be rational with irrational people because they'll just you attacks, attacks, attacks. And so, yeah, I was attacked by this guy, and I'll be honest, for a split second, I was like, it kind of triggered me. Because when I say triggered, I mean that I had a visceral emotional response to what he was saying. Because I'm a healer. I like, but we're all human. We are all human. No healer can claim with 100% veracity and truthfulness that they never feel anger, they never feel frustration, they never feel sadness. It just doesn't work that way. Healers feel just the same as anyone else, and I was quite triggered. The fact that he was, defiling and despoiling a national tragedy message. So I thought that was quite bizarre, but things like this happen in real like everyday life. And so the whole point of this video is to not surround yourself by toxic people, to escape the toxicity and realize that people do this because they hate themselves. So it has nothing to do with you, it has everything to do with you being pure in your message and them being, stuck in their attitude of degradation and self-hatred. And so that's all it is. So not to be triggered by these trolls and just realize they hate themselves. So to pray for them, pray that you have the mental fortitude to have clarity into the big picture that we're humans and we're supposed to be in the same team, not bring each other down. We're all human beings. We're on the same team, and we're here to lift people up. Now, I've had so many friends that I disagree with politically, but we maintain the friendships because we didn't let politics divide what's more sacred, which is a friendship. What's more important, a sacred friendship or stupid politics, right? Politics. And so, we ask each other why we believe the things we do, and we come into common ground with a lot of things. But there's just some things we fundamentally disagree with, and that's okay. But what we don't have to do is troll someone and give them hatred if you don't like what they're saying, and to pile on someone. And when it's all fueled by hate. And this is what this world needs less of. That's the only thing this world needs less of, hate. Because with hate, you see other people differently. You don't see them as family, you see them as enemies. And it's a very dangerous mentality. And it's the same mentality that the shooter probably had when he committed these heinous acts, that driven by hate. And so these trolls are driven by hate, so to pray for them. And if you're around toxic people, maybe it's right time to take a break from them while still not, axing out your entire life when you probably have a lot of life history. Do I feel better or worse after hanging out with this person? And know that it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and their own isms that are going on in their head. So, um, so it's just so important to keep the big picture that we are all infinite beings. We are not human. We are our minds, our souls. We are souls that are directed towards our mind, and mind and soul is kind of synonymous in some ways. That we're navigating this life through our soul that is incarnate in this body, and we're all here to unite and to help and to build this utopia of love. That's what we're here to do. And so, for a natural tragedy, for 9-year-old kids getting slain by gunfire and the head of the school and three other adults and seven people killed, to have a loving memorial status to that and to crash a memorial status by saying this is a soapbox. I mean, come on, like have some perspective how vile that really is to do in the grand scheme of things. And I think it's important that people see the big scheme of things because so many people get caught up in what's in front of them in their everyday life, but the big picture is that we are all humanity and we must all help each other and we must all unite. If you have that mentality, you'll have no room for trolling or any of this self hatred behavior. Amen. Thank you so much for watching.